Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
Indeed, it is another brand new live edition of Talking Ball. 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Theisen, Drew DeArmond with you. Good to be back. Good to be back here doing what we do. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. We'll be with you until 9 a.m. 62 degrees as you make your way into work, into school. Wherever you may be headed on this Thursday, a very busy Thursday. It was a busy Wednesday as well. We mentioned we were in that midst of 49 straight days of college football last night. Jacksonville State is making a habit of playing midweek football games this year. Last night, they were on the road at Florida International. Florida International came in 4-4 on the year, 1-5 in Conference USA play, and Jacksonville State did not waste any time, did not say, we're going to let you in this ball game. In fact, Jacksonville State will lead 21-0 after the first, 24-0 at the half, or 24-3 at the half, and they cruised last night in Ricardo Silva Stadium. 41-16, Jacksonville State the win. They are now 7-2, 5-1 in Conference USA play. But remember, they can't go to a bowl game because they're in that transition period.
Yeah, I think they're appealing, but if we know the NC Double Dumb, they probably won't win it.
They're not letting James Madison.
Yeah.
James Madison's appealed 3 times.
Oh, I know.
They did it. They appealed last year. They appealed this year a couple times, and they're not letting James Madison in. So I doubt I mean, I could be wrong, but I doubt the NCAA is going to let.
In the post game, I agree with what they were talking about. They were kind of analyzing the game and talking about Zion Webb, who is now Dr. Webb. He's in his 7th year, but with
has a good ring to it,
with 2 kids and married,
and a mortgage.
But they were saying that they deserve to be in, and Kevin Carter, former Gator defensive lineman, was saying, it's I just wish they could win this appeal because they're playing so well. They're 7-2, 5-1 in Conference USA in their first year. But then they had a good idea, like why not just say to hell with the NCAA and then just play James Madison in Hawaii.
We
or something.
said that 2 weeks ago. They should just go over and play Hawaii.
Go
ahead and play in Hawaii and play James Madison.
call them up. Just make up your own bowl game. Have another Hawaii bowl, and get their own sponsors and both of them go over there and just play each other since they're not eligible for bowl games, but they're better than just about every other team in their league, except for in the case of Jacksonville State, unbeaten Liberty, but. And by the way, shout out to Ken Burnett. His son is on the team at Liberty. He's a quarterback, and saw him at Baumhauer's last week. So
they won Tuesday night. They played Tuesday. They got by Western Kentucky 42-29.
He was talking about that one. He felt like that was going to to be a challenge, and certainly
it was
Liberty,
at the half. It was 14-10 at the half. Liberty put up 21 in the fourth. So did Western, but I mean Liberty is 8-0 overall, 6-0 in Conference USA. So, was it Hugh Freeze or?
Liberty's a really good Group of 5 program.
Yeah.
They're extremely well funded, and Jamie Chadwell coming over from Coastal Carolina, he's done a great job keeping that program rolling. And Hugh certainly had a good run there, and is trying to get things straightened out at Auburn. We're going to talk to Jason Caldwell at the end of the show in the last segment. They got a big one this weekend to swing it back in the positive realm, and Auburn's got a schedule that is manageable because everybody on the back end except for Alabama is kind of struggling right now. So Auburn could still theoretically be at 7-4 headed into the Iron Bowl. They got a tricky road trip to Arkansas. And I know Arkansas is 2-6, but it's still at home.
I wasn't here, so you bring up Arkansas.
Yeah.
Shocked that Arkansas pulled the plug on Dan Enos so fast.
Well, not really. Not if you've been watching if you saw any of that Mississippi State game, and then if you've been they've been losing every game by one possession, but it was a square peg in a round hole. And we had Otis Kirk on, not this week, but you and I have had him on, and Otis basically told us he didn't think it was the and I had him on the recruiting blitz as well, that it was the offensive line, because that's what everybody's talked about all year. He felt like the coordinator was a bad fit. And I know Enos has told people that he wanted to make a change at quarterback behind the scenes and things of that nature, but I don't think – and he said, my system works, but here's the problem. He didn't try to fit his system to the personnel. Sometimes you have to do that. And people want to know, well, why did Sam Pittman hire him? Because, he should have hired someone from the Bryles tree to keep the offense the exact same, but Pittman hired somebody he was familiar with. I mean, he worked closely with Dan Enos as the offensive line coach when Enos was the coordinator under Burt Bielema, and and they had a lot of success, and so he thought his system would work. It just didn't work this time, and so they made a change, and Kenny Guyton's taking over. He's sliding over from the wide receivers coach to coach QBs and be the OC and play caller, and then former Alabama wide receiver Derek Keefe has gone from analyst. He came over from Towson, where he was wide receivers coach, and he's going to coach the receivers. So they've made a change kind of mid-season, and Pittman's, he's taking on full responsibility because, again, he's the one with, now that they're 2-6, people are raising hell about his job security. So, I mean, he's a guy that they're still playing hard for him because they haven't laid down. I mean, they haven't been blown out of any game, but they need to try to salvage their season. I don't know if it's salvageable. As of now, because they're 2-6, they basically are one loss away from no bowl game.
Right.
So their backs are against the wall. We'll see how they respond. It's going to be very, very interesting. But Dan Enos is used to this. He got paid to go away. He'll get like $2.8 million. And but again, I don't feel sorry for him because he was a quarterback coach at Alabama in 2018, and then he just disappeared on Saban. Saban showed up at a staff meeting. He's like, where's Dan? Nobody knew where Dan was. Dan had gone to Miami without telling anybody and slid out the back door to be OC and fall on his face. And so, again, Dan will be fine. He's a big boy. He's been around the business. He's been the head coach of Central Michigan. Matter of fact, he was head coach of Central Michigan in the MAC when he left to go to Arkansas and under Burt and be the OC. So he left a head coaching job at that time. So he's done things before and made moves, and I'm sure he'll resurface. But he did a nice job under Michael Oxley at Maryland. I mean, they won 8 games last year, but it just, like I said, sometimes it doesn't work. It wasn't working with Arkansas, and certainly I will say the defensive coordinator hires worked. Their defense is much better under Travis Robinson, and that was a good move, and Marcus Woodson. But they've just got to find a way to stop the bleeding and try to salvage their year, at least maybe get to 5 wins and be close to a bowl game. And I think Pittman could save his job. Personally, I still think he should return, and you should let him try to fix it. But again, the climate's different, and I will say I heard Trey Biddy on the Chuck Oliver show. We haven't talked a ton of Arkansas this week, but Trey Biddy did make a point that if you do make a change, it's going to be mass exodus probably, because there's going to be a lot of players that love Pittman that'll transfer. It'll affect your recruiting, and you certainly will have a rough 2024. You might have a rough one anyway, but it pretty much guarantees it if you make a coaching change, just because look what Hugh Freeze is going through with the transition. He flipped his roster. Deion flipped his roster. Everybody gave Deion Coach of the Year the first month. And, and now when you find out you lose to Caleb Williams, you're in trouble. Okay?
Well, I mean, you look
at Mr. Overrated.
But you have to say, though, offensively, Colorado's had way more success flipping the roster than what Auburn.
No, I mean, here's the difference. Colorado can't stop running water. I mean, they come from the Lincoln tree of that. They can't tackle anybody. I mean, they're talented. In theory, they are a hell of a lot better than they were a year ago. I mean, they were 1-11.
Right.
I mean, and they look how many television views they get. They should go to a bowl. I mean, they got a good shot. I mean, that in year one, that should be a success when you were well done the year before. So the only problem is Arkansas went 7-6 last year and won a bowl, but they backslid. They didn't live up to expectations, and now they're backsliding again. And then this coordinator hire didn't work. And then you know how important NIL is right now. Now there's rumors that the Waltons and then the Tysons and the donors are leery of giving Pittman money to go get transfers and the portal guys because they don't know if he's the answer long term. But again, so you're kind of caught between but Trey Biddy will tell you, and Trey Biddy, there's no one in the world that is more well tied into Arkansas at hogsports.com, part of 24/7 Sports and CBS, that it was very hard to hire a coach last time because the program's in much better shape now than when Chad Morris left it. But they got turned down by Lane Kiffin. They got turned down by a lot of people and had to go and Pittman was down the list. And so if you make the change again, who is out there? I mean, who are you looking at to try to get to come to Arkansas in the Shark Tank known as the SEC, where Texas and Oklahoma are going to be there next year. So it's going to be very, very interesting. I just look at my eyes and what I see out of Arkansas, and I know that it was horrendous and they didn't score a touchdown in the last game at home, but it's not like they're just going through the motions. I think
they're playing hard.
They're playing really hard. They haven't
offensively.
They're just challenged.
Pushing a boulder up a hill right now.
Yeah, that's pretty good analogy.
And it's not going well. It just keeps rolling back.
Yeah, it's kind of trying to, or it's just stagnating and not going anywhere.
Yeah. Well, not going anywhere is the Auburn passing game.
Yeah.
And let's get our first break in. When we come back, just how historically bad has the Auburn passing game been so far? Can they right the ship against Mississippi State? We'll throw that out there. Plus, I got to share just a little bit of the food journey during the vacation.
Well, we did talk about the
pork tenderloin
sandwich. Yeah.
Let me tell you, that and the breakfast pizza, I feel at home.
Breakfast pizza.
Oh.
Interesting.
Got to get a break in. When we come back, Talking Ball returns.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Got a wreck at County Line in Madison Boulevard now reported as an injury type. They made Wall Triana in Madison Boulevard, but they got canceled on it. It ended up being a no injury. And we just got one in Decatur at Central and Courtney. It's coming in as a no injury. Someone dies from heart disease every 36 seconds. Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialist on Bob Wallace Avenue can help you to keep your heart healthy. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
Chapman Commercial Realty, your source for Alabama commercial real estate. Chapman Commercial Realty has the experience and expertise you're looking for when making commercial real estate decisions. If it's office space, retail space, investment property, or project development, Chapman Commercial Realty is your answer. Call Bill Chapman today at 256-656-8413. That's 256-656-8413. Or find them online at chapmancommercialrealty.com.
Not looking or feeling your best? No energy for the things you like to do? Ready to look and feel younger? Make your appointment at Advanced Life Clinic, one of the region's foremost destinations for patients interested in looking and feeling their best. Specializing in advanced laser treatments and weight loss, male and female rejuvenation to offset the effects of aging, and more. See how Advanced Life Clinic can help you enjoy your life again. Call 256-882-6555 or log on advancedlifeclinic.com.
With us today, Dr. Tracy Lowry of Best Vein Care of Huntsville.
When we evaluate a patient and they indeed have significant venous disease, most third-party payers, private insurance, Medicare, require us to treat every patient conservatively at least 90 days. Conservative treatment includes increasing ambulation, elevation of the legs, and the wearing of compression stockings. It's very common for folks to come see us in March or April wanting to have their veins fixed before they go into swimsuits starting in June. When we see someone in March or April, they're going to require at least 90 days of conservative treatment before we can even go to the insurance carrier to get permission to treat their veins. So if you think you have a venous problem, now is the time to come in and get a free screening so we can determine whether or not you need something evaluated. If you have a vein problem or you think you may have a vein problem, now's the time to contact us at bestveincarehuntsville.com.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
Hi, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond with you on a Thursday morning, 7:16. As you make your journey in, wherever it may be, school, work, fun, I don't know. But
oh, by the way, while you were gone, our good friend Grady called in. I wondered if he would take a week off.
Called in yesterday?
Because I wondered if, with Tide being off, if he was going to take a week off. He did not. He had 2 picks yesterday. He picked Florida, Georgia. He pleased Steve because he picked Georgia to cover 34-13.
Wow.
So, and then he's not going to please Jeff very much because he picked Kentucky to beat Tennessee.
Huh.
Yeah. So.
Well, he would be happy with that, wouldn't he, if he picked Kentucky to beat
Yeah,
Tennessee?
he said nothing sucks like a big orange.
He's still on, man.
Yeah, so I think I want to say he picked like 26-23 or something like that. I believe he picked the Wildcats to beat the Vols. So that's the 2 picks for Grady as he called in yesterday and then it gave a shout out to his grandma. So like I told him, he'd be eating good. So and an update really fast. They won the semifinal last week. Yeah.
So they playing the finals this week?
They're playing in championship game on Saturday against Brewer for the title here. And he did play some last week. I asked him, did he get in? And he said, yeah. He said he got in some. So Grady got to play in the semifinals. So
all right.
Our good friend Grady the Greek playing for a title on Saturday.
All right.
There you go.
I listened to the Matthew McConaughey book on the car.
Oh, Lord.
Green lights. It was quite the experience. Anyway, 256-576-4977. You can join the program this morning. Let's go out there. Mark from Spring Hill now with us.
What's up, Mark?
Hey, morning, guys. Morning.
Morning.
I'll give y'all a scenario question of these like Theisen does. Hey, stranger things have happened, but I wanted to kind of throw something at you where a team may get left out of the playoffs that's undefeated. Florida State, Oklahoma and Texas. Let's just say Oklahoma wins that game and is undefeated. In Georgia and Alabama playing Alabama somehow runs the table and wins that one. Ohio State beats Michigan and they're in. And then you've got either Washington or Florida State being left out. Of those two, who do you see being left out and why?
Shoot.
Can't have 5 in.
Well, I don't think 2. I mean, if Alabama runs the table, does Georgia even get in?
Georgia wouldn't because their strength of
schedule is not very good. So the SEC,
bad.
I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that the SEC is getting 2 into
I
the playoffs.
don't think the SEC will get 2 this year.
Right. And I think the winner, if Texas somehow would come back and beat Oklahoma, you would have to see the rest of the landscape. If Washington runs the table, Washington would get in.
And don't forget, Scott, Quinn Ewers is out for a few weeks now with his sprained shoulder. So
that was
his joint. Yeah, so we'll see if that affects Texas because they do have a loss.
Florida State has a tough one this week. Don't overlook Wake Forest.
Well, they had a tough one last week. I mean, Riley Leonard ended up getting hurt again or whatever, had to come out. And once he came out, Florida State kind of hammered him in the fourth quarter. But I still think the Noles could trip up. And if the Noles aren't undefeated, they could, even if they're the ACC champion, they're not guaranteed to get in. But if they stay undefeated, of course. But
yeah, I mean, then you
there's
got Ohio.
There's a lot of football to be played. We'll see. But I don't
Ohio State
think,
or Michigan,
Yeah.
most likely out of the. I would say one out of there would get
because
in.
think of it this way. Missouri, in theory, could beat Georgia. It would be very unlikely, but
Right.
they could get there. They'd have a loss, and then Alabama would have a loss if they get there. Hell, LSU could have 2 losses. I still think LSU could win the SEC and get in with 2 losses, but they would need the Florida States to lose at least once. They would need everybody to pretty much have a loss for that to happen, which would probably be unlikely. But if Alabama and Georgia both get there, I think one gets in and the other does. The loser does not this year, because if it's Alabama, you got 2 losses, and if it's Georgia, as you talked about, Scott, their schedule strength is horrendous. So
Yeah,
I don't
it's
think
not
they would
very
get
good.
in. Yeah, especially if there's 2 or 3 other undefeated teams. That's what's going to be the whole key to the drill.
But I will say this: Georgia's schedule's not very tough, but
it does help them that Missouri is a lot better than people thought, though. Now at the end,
no, that's where I was going to go with that.
Yeah.
Their schedule is not very
and
tough.
Ole Miss. Don't forget, Ole Miss is pretty good.
Right, but Georgia is entering their toughest stretch, their toughest portion of the schedule.
I mean, they've
Florida,
got
Missouri,
Yeah,
Ole
they've got
Miss,
4 good teams in a
Tennessee.
row, in theory.
Yeah, this is their
Georgia
toughest
Tech
stretch.
stinks, but you got Florida, Missouri, Ole Miss, and Tennessee all in a row.
Yes, and 2 of those are away from home. Yes, one is a neutral game at Jacksonville. That is this weekend.
Right.
But then they close it out with a trip to Knoxville, which, I mean, granted, Tennessee is what they are this year. They are not as explosive as last year.
Yeah.
But defensively, I think they could present a challenge at home to what Georgia can offer.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, let me ask the question again, because y'all didn't really answer it. I don't mean to be. I've got 6 undefeated teams right now. Only 4 get in, and Alabama beats Georgia. We're going to have either the Pac-10 left out, undefeated Washington, or we're going to have Florida State left out. It's a committee. Which of those 2 gets left out? Somebody's got to get left out. One of those 2. I'm thinking it's going to be Florida State. ACC is weak as a catch, you know what.
Well, yeah, because you would have your Big Ten. I mean, your Big Ten would get in. Your Pac-12 would get in.
And I'll answer it
Big
my
12.
way. I don't see all these. They're not going to be 5 or 6 undefeated teams.
No,
they're going to cannibalize themselves. I mean, I don't see it. I don't see. I already don't think that Oklahoma is going to run the table in the Big 12. Hell, they almost lost to UCF. Okay, they were lucky to escape that game. It wouldn't even shock me if they lost to Kansas this weekend. So, I mean.
Well, Ohio State and Michigan, one of those 2 are going to lose.
Yeah, they're going to lose.
I mean, because they're playing each other. So
Right.
they got one, boom, they're gone.
If Oregon upsets Washington, and I wouldn't even call it an upset, if they play each other in a rematch,
Pac-12,
then there goes another undefeated team. I think there might be 1 or 2 undefeated teams.
Florida State could trip up easily. Florida State could trip up, like I said, this weekend.
But if Florida State is undefeated, they're going to get in no matter what. I mean, if they're undefeated, I don't see an undefeated team. There won't be enough. What I'm trying to say, Mark, I am answering the question. There will not be enough undefeated teams for an undefeated team to be left out. There never has been in the playoff unless you're in a group of 5 league. I don't see a Power 5 unbeaten being left out.
Well, yeah, because in his scenario, if Alabama would beat Georgia, Alabama gets to Atlanta, if they do beat Georgia, that would
Georgia's
take Georgia out of it.
Yeah.
Michigan and Ohio State, one of those 2 are going out. So now you're down to 4.
Yeah.
Oklahoma, Washington, Florida State, and Ohio State / Michigan. So, yeah, you go.
I just think at max it'll be 2 undefeated teams. And is there a scenario where the SEC could get left out? Yes, but I think it's highly, highly unlikely that a 1 loss. The only way the SEC gets left out of it is if there's 2 or 3 undefeateds and LSU somehow comes out of there.
I was going to say, if LSU would somehow win the SEC championship game with 2 losses, that could.
Now, I will say this. If this had been the 12-team playoff, then the SEC would be dancing in the street because there'd be probably
3?
at least 3 teams get in.
Alabama, Georgia, LSU?
Yeah, they would all be because, I mean, good Lord. I mean, but USC would still suck so bad they wouldn't even get in a 12-team play. Can't wait to the greatest quarterback in the history of football.
So you know what? We give Jimbo Fisher a hard time, rightfully so, because his teams are horrendous.
Yeah.
To the talent level that they are, not bad. They're to the talent level they recruit to. The record does not indicate how good they should be.
I gotta give
Clay Helton, and so someone.
I saw that. 17-5. Same record.
Same record as Lincoln Sharman.
Yeah.
So yeah, I kind of chuckled at that a
well,
little bit.
I know you've been in Big Ten country. I mean, how much conversation is it over there about the signal? You know, the bat signals.
Not much.
You know,
because you got to remember, Iowa had a horrendous.
Oh my God, we kind of talked about that.
We lost. So
hey, you were right about the over/under, though.
Iowa lost to Floyd of Rosedale, which growing up that was the big
time out here. Time out. I saw something on Twitter about that with Minnesota. It's a pig.
It's a bronzed pig.
It is, right?
And let me tell you, it takes 2 to 3 offensive linemen to carry this pig. It is very, very heavy. And then each year, the winner gets to subscribe, your name on there and the score. And it's a huge thing. Growing up as a kid, it was the battle for Floyd of Rosedale.
The Minnesota kids were like, Floyd is home. I mean, they put him in some case.
Yeah. Oh, Floyd is revered. You don't want to lose Floyd. And
that's the first time in a decade they've lost Floyd or something.
Well, it's the first time since '99 they've lost him at home.
Oh, okay.
And so the other team gets to come over to the sidelines. The other team, and you know it. And there's no fight. They run over to the sidelines. They get to pick up Floyd and they take him home. Iowa had like -2 yards in the second half of offense. And just a horrendous performance. And, of course, the call at the end, and they all wanted to talk about that and everything. That was the whole conversation was Brian Ferentz needs to be fired, the offensive coordinator, the quarterback's coach, the wide receivers coach, everybody on the offense just needs to be fired. They just need to fire them all was the conversation. So they could have cared less about Michigan.
I mean, there's been talk of Ferentz being forced into retirement. So
there was a lot there.
Now the question is, do y'all upset Jeff and go hire Mark Stoops?
I don't know. I just know that was pretty.
Jeff will have a meltdown.
I was laughing. All right, hey, let's go to the phone lines. Brandon's with us as well this morning. Good morning, Brandon.
Morning. So I saw that plate of food you had, and I just want to tell you, when they talk about killing the fatted calf, they didn't mean for you to eat all of it by yourself.
That was the pig, baby. We killed a pig for that.
Pig, okay.
We killed a pig for that.
I'm sending Scott this picture too. He'll get a kick out of this Jim Harbaugh picture.
Was that him with the old?
He looks like Ant-Man. That's what I told Brandon. He looks like
straight
Ant-Man.
out of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. It looks like
that's
Rick
what
Moranis.
He said too. That's what Brandon said.
Rick Moranis.
Yeah.
So anyway. Yes, I partook in the pork tenderloin sandwich. That's a ritual. But then I told Drew I also had to have the breakfast pizza.
Yeah, I didn't. I don't know about this one.
There's a restaurant, or it's a gas station actually, and I wish they would start. But it's Casey's, and they started very, very small. There was only a few of them growing up, and best pizza in the world. And you go there and you just take it home, and they bake it there. But then they make a breakfast pizza, and it's a Midwest thing, and it is, oh my gosh. I had that on Sunday morning. I had it a couple other times too because I got them fresh, and so good. It's got a little bit of that sausage gravy down there is the sauce with just a smidge of eggs and some sausage and a lot of cheese on a pizza crust. Son, they are fantastic.
Wow.
One of my friends lives Midtown Atlanta. She saw the little thing about the shake, the same place y'all got there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And she said her and her 2 kids did not finish one.
Oh Lord.
She said it was so potent that they just couldn't do it.
Oh,
it was unbelievable when they bring it out.
Yeah, that is the
Christmas tree cake.
Yeah, the milkshake yard.
I
told you, my wife and I, it takes both of us, and it's a lot even for me to eat with 2 people. With those shakes. Yeah, you don't go in there on your own and try to eat one of those by yourself.
She says they have a big sign at the one in Atlanta that's very large that specifically speaks to diabetes. Like they have one in there that lets people know when they come in that if you have blood sugar problems or your kids have blood sugar problems, you may want to think twice before you get one of these.
You may want to think 10 times.
Yeah, when you got a big old huge diabetes warning board when you come in, that would make Wilford Brimley proud.
You're in trouble.
Floyd of Rosedale. That sounds like a caller on the show.
Well, we have Floyd from Jasper that called in.
That's what I was thinking. He's on Floyd of Rosedale. I was like, who is this guy? It took me a minute because I'm over here passing through Spring Garden. And
I didn't know that's what the trophy was called. I just saw the pig, man. I just saw that they were all fired up. They ran to the end zone to get the pig, and then they put the pig out there in their Hall of Fame or whatever in Minnesota, and I knew they said it's the first time in 10 years they'd won in Iowa City.
Yeah, Floyd. Okay, so Floyd B. Olson.
Yeah,
he was the governor of Minnesota during the heart of the Depression. He made a wager that would create one of the most memorable trophies in sports. So,
well, y'all were talking about Pittman. Man, you get a bad hire, even with a great coach, it can cause problems. I mean, we saw what. Well, I'm gonna say call him dummy. We saw what Pete
Wild Turkey
Golding. Yeah, you saw what he did.
I mean,
he
almost wrecked the best offense ever.
Yeah, I mean, you sit here and look at how much better. Granted, Texas, we had to find a few things, and if we had Julian saying at quarterback right now, we'd probably be seeing things a little differently too. But this defense has progressively got better all year long. I think Jihad had a lot to do with that, with the amount of ground he was covering the other day. I saw that tail of the tape with Travis Reier, and you don't really see that in live time. But when you look at it in slow motion and realize how he stops them in third down plays from the other hash 20-something yards upfield, that's some serious linebacker play. And I just think that they're going to go dumping Sam Pittman. I think they're going a little too early. I think you got to ride with this guy and give him a chance to fix it. And he may have to make an unpopular hire. I mean, if I had to, I'd hire Art Browse. I'd get somebody in there and say, look, this dude's paid his dues. I'd get somebody in there to fix the situation. But he's a good person, and then people over there like him. And to me, that means a lot. I mean, give somebody a rough year or two. I mean, at least he ain't hooking up with his girlfriend. I mean, his assistant's girlfriends and crashing them on Harleys. I mean, it could be a lot worse than what it is.
Yeah. All right, hey, Brandon. Yeah, hey, do here, Brandon, but we got to get a break in.
Appreciate it.
Yep, we got to get to Jake Wimberly on the other side because Mississippi State, Auburn, going to tangle. What does Mississippi State bring to the table? What can we look forward to? What's the Bulldog state of mind? Jake Wimberly will lend us those thoughts and more next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly to partly sunny sky this afternoon. Temperatures have no problems climbing into the lower 80s. We drop into the low 60s as we head into the overnight, early into your Friday morning. More cloud cover for Friday afternoon, but it is still going to be warm across the Tennessee Valley. Temperatures climbing into the upper 70s and lower 80s. It'll be a warm October evening for Friday night football. Temperatures for the most part hanging out in the mid 60s, dropping into the low 60s by the time we get to the earliest hours of Saturday morning. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Had a couple of wrecks on Madison Boulevard, one at Wall Triana. They canceled Himsey on that one. The other one at Madison Boulevard and County Line did end up with an injury. One in Decatur Central and Courtney was a no injury, but it may have some blockage. Officers, construction workers, and first responders put their lives on the line every time they step on the roadway. Why not make it safer for them? Slow down or move over. It's the law. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Tom Abraham here for my friends at North Alabama Mortgage. Are you thinking about home improvements? Well, use your equity now and refi later. Or use your equity to eliminate consumer debt forever, then refi to a lower rate and shorter term when rates drop. North Alabama Mortgage can also help you if you're thinking about buying an investment property or a second home at the lake or the beach or in the mountains. We have great programs to make that happen. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
Normally, when you call a roofing company, all you hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Since 1965, the folks at Fleming have been focused on what you need, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement, commercial or residential. And when it comes to storm damage, you want Fleming on your side. They know all the ins and outs of insurance claims and will guide you through the entire process. Log on FlemingHSV.com and book your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Hey folks, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford. It's hunting and tailgate season and time to get serious about an F-150. We've got nearly 140 to choose from, and without a doubt, one of the best F-150 values on the road today is our STX package. You get 290 hard-working horses mated to a 10-speed transmission that'll take you everywhere, from that tree stand to downtown Tuscaloosa. Body-colored bumpers, halogen headlamps, 20-inch machined aluminum wheels, and lots of tech, like a rear-view camera with dynamic hitch assist, which you boaters and RVers will love. A 2023 Woody Anderson Ford F-150 STX packs a punch, but it doesn't cost you a bunch. You can drive one for $474 a month. That's a 36-month lease with $51.66 due at signing, 0 security deposit, just tax tag title, and your good credit. Offer ends October 31st. Call 539-9441 for complete details. Come test drive an F-150 STX today. Woody Anderson Ford, hope to see you soon.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond with you. Welcome back into the show, 7:36 on a Thursday morning. Coming up on Saturday, plenty of football options with Alabama putting their feet up for the weekend. You got plenty of football options. Mississippi State and Auburn, Jordan-Hare Stadium, 2:30 kickoff. We will talk more about Auburn coming up later, but for Mississippi State, what do you got to be feeling coming into this one?
Well, you got to at least be happy that you got off the schneid and you got to win on the road at Arkansas. It was ugly, but it was 7-3. They did it without their quarterback, Will Rogers. We'll see if he's going to be available this week. And they have, remember their backup, Scott. Don't people kind of forget this? It's Major Wright, who used to be a team captain and starter at Vanderbilt. He is, so at least he has experience in that regard. And Mississippi State was able to survive in Fayetteville. It's been a rough first year for Zach Arnett, and we're going to talk with our next guest. He does a great job from 3 to 6. He hosts the afternoon drive at 105.9 in Jackson, Mississippi. He also has an outstanding blog that you can check out over at 105.9 on their website. He does a great job. He's also a Bolitnikoff Award winner as far as voter. He does a great job with his daily show, and we always enjoy catching up with Jake Wimberly. He's with us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Jake, what's up, man?
Guys, good morning. How y'all doing?
Well, I mean, what has the reaction been? I mean, it was an ugly game. Everybody's even talked about the 3-2 Auburn game, but they got the win on the road in the SEC with their backup quarterback.
Yeah, you know how football fans, we all are this day and age. I mean, if we're not four wide and ripping up and down the field and throwing, 25, 35, 45 points, then people kind of get a little bored with football. But, this team is very much, it's hard to believe it, but it's very much a work in progress. When you go back and you look at Zach Arnett and the situation he was put in, which was, an unbelievable, the situation was not the best of situations. We know that with the passing of Mike Leach, having to staff out a team, and of course he got his shot to be a head coach and changes the offense. It's been a rough road for this team, and but to get a win last week against Arkansas, I think that gives you a little bit of breathing room, just a little bit. But this team is to even win. I mean, you got to look down the schedule. Auburn, obviously, a very tough place to go play. Mississippi State has had some success over there, but it's been limited over the years. You look at Kentucky coming in next weekend. Texas A&M's on the schedule, and Ole Miss with Southern Miss kind of sandwiched in there. So, the goal right now is to try to get to 6 wins, and that's going to be very tough for Mississippi State to do. Offensively, I would not anticipate Will Rogers to play this weekend. I think that's probably going to be
the next question.
Mike Wright's show this weekend. So it's going to have to be ball control. This team is not going to spread it out, and they're not going to, try to push the ball down the field. It's going to be ball control, and then they've got to get better production from this defense. They played well last week, but this team has been susceptible to the pass, and I know that Hugh Freeze and Auburn probably will go right at them in the third level of that defense.
Well, that's the thing, though. I mean, we thought about that with Auburn against LSU's pass defense because they were not that great, and Auburn struggled. But if you are Mississippi State, you went on the road at Arkansas, and we alluded, that win was ugly, but however you got to win, you get a win. And, I mean, Auburn hasn't been playing that great. You got to feel good, though.
Take the under now.
You got to feel good, though, if you're Mississippi State. And like you said, I mean, if that win mark is 6, you're still on track.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Drew. Crush the under. Absolutely, crush the under.
I mean,
I don't know that it's going to be 3-2, but I would anticipate, this game, first 1-20, maybe wins the ball game. But you're right. I mean, absolutely. I mean, you're on track, and I think, let's just go ahead and, give Mississippi State. We'll slide, Southern Miss into the win column for Mississippi State here in a few weeks. So you got to get 1, at least to get to 6. But to go win a game at Auburn, you're going to have to play it clean. You can't put the ball on the ground. Mike Wright's going to have to protect the football. They're going to have to play. It's going to be a 4-quarter ball game for Mississippi State, and if they're going to win it, it's probably going to be an ugly one.
Well, and how much conversation has there been about Zach? Because to me, we have not seen circumstances like this since the days of LSU, and in that situation, the head coach never coached a game, kind of like the Mike Price deal. You don't see head coaches pass away very often. This has been a very difficult, unexpected transition. Is Coach Arnett in trouble at all?
There's a lot of aggravation inside the Mississippi State fan base, and I don't know that necessarily it's at Zach Arnett. I mean, I think it's just the situation, and he just happens to be the head coach. So, a lot of people, and I say a lot, it's hard to really gauge it, but I know based on what we hear every day, especially from Mississippi State fans, they're not happy with the situation, and it puts Zach Selman in a precarious situation. And you guys know how athletics directors work. I mean, you come in and you guys, let's just say one of you guys got the athletics director at Mississippi State, and you came in and there's your coach. Well, okay, you don't want to upset the apple cart and start changing the blinds in every room and changing the light fixtures. You want to hopefully let this thing rock and roll, but Zach Arnett is not Zach Selman's guy. So what does that look like moving forward? I think a lot of it's going to depend on if, does money start to dry up? I mean, you know how fans are and alums, if things
NIL,
well. Yeah, does collective money start drying up? If that kind of stuff starts happening, I think you'll see them move on this fairly quickly. And it doesn't get any easier, as you guys know, with Oklahoma and Texas coming in next year. If you just kind of take a peek at that Mississippi State schedule and you look at them today and you look next year and you go, I don't know how much better it's going to get.
Yeah. How's the recruiting though going? Has he been able to hit the recruiting trail? And because I mean, you are changing systems. You're trying to go from that complete air raid to a more balanced pro style attack. Is the recruiting though showing that?
Yes, the recruiting is stable. Now what does that mean inside the Southeastern Conference? Obviously, they're going to be on the bottom half of that. They're going to be down there with, your Missouris and South Carolinas and Vanderbilts of the world, of the SEC. But yes, the recruiting has been solid. We'll call it solid for Mississippi State. I believe unofficially, I looked at it the other day, got 16 or 17 commits for this cycle. They, by what they have with Mike Wright, by who's on campus and the quarterback that they have committed. They just got a young man from Noxubee County in the state of Mississippi, where Jeffrey Simmons played football. And I don't know if you guys remember a couple of those other guys. And one quarterback that played for Mississippi State years ago escapes me, but they're more mobile quarterbacks. That's what they're going after. That's where Kevin Barbay wants to be with this offense. It's more of a mobile quarterback. So it's a big year in the state of Mississippi. There's a lot of talent in the state. Now, some of that talent is going out of state, going to Florida, going across state lines. But Ole Miss has been able to pull in a lot of that talent. Mississippi State has got their fair share, a couple big wide receivers in the state of Mississippi. So you wonder, with the numbers at 16, 17, 18, how many of those spots are they holding for the transfer portal? Because as we know, that thing is fixing to fill up here in the next few weeks.
Yeah, it really is. And see, that was my point, because of it's almost all schools are kind of doing this. They're all holding scholarships back, and of course it's collective money for portal additions. Now it doesn't always work. We've seen Colorado flip their roster, and they're better, but still not great. Auburn, some of that you'll see Saturday. Their receiver core, their quarterbacks have struggled. You still need to supplement your roster, and it's about having momentum. And we know what Mississippi State did with Joe Moorhead a few years back. They gave him 2 years, Jake, and then it was done. I mean, I never thought I'd see that. They won the Egg Bowl and let the guy go. Okay?
They did. It was very, very surprising. And I think if he gets the 6, excuse me, I don't think you can let him go. I think, you get to a bowl game that shows, hey, look, we've stabilized, at least for the moment, everything. They need another shot at this. But, if the wheels were to fall off, and they, I said this last week, and, prior to the Arkansas game, if this team loses out, it's over for him. But they got to win at Arkansas, so that's a big win, feather in the cap for Zach Arnett and that staff. if they can grab one more, if they can get to 6, then I think he will get that second year.
Yeah, and again,
yeah. How much did though? I mean, sometimes you win the game and it still doesn't please everybody, obviously. But what was the thought though of the performance at Arkansas?
I mean, I think the fan base collectively was glad to get a win. Not too happy with the way the win happened, but like I say it, I've heard you guys say it. I mean, look, next year if Mississippi State gets to 6-6, nobody's going to remember that they beat Arkansas 7-3.
Right.
But I think people want to see this offense churn a little better, put up more points. Because, I mean, we forget, and, obviously Will Rogers is in doubt and is not healthy right now. But
neither is Tulu Griffin, yeah.
Yeah, Tulu Griffin's not either. But there's talent on this team that put up a lot of points last year. In the fact that this staff cannot manifest that into this new system and make that happen, there are some frustrations there.
Yeah, no, there has to be. And then with Ole Miss, that's the completely different end of the spectrum. Now, we saw this a year ago where they started very strong and faded down the stretch, Jake, but is there a different feel this time?
I think so. Yeah, I think this team is better than last year's team. I mean, I think Jackson Dart is more polished this year. He seems to be, in more of a leadership role. And right now everything's in front of Ole Miss. I mean, with Vanderbilt coming in this weekend, they're a big favorite. I think it's 25 is the last line I saw. I wouldn't necessarily play that, but I think that Ole Miss wins this game comfortably. And then it comes down to, what can they do? Can they go give Georgia a run? Can they give Georgia a game next weekend over in Athens? And I will be interested to see, and I know you guys will be too, how much is Georgia affected offensively with Brock Bowers now on the sidelines? And what does Georgia's offense look like? I mean, obviously they still have arguably the most talented roster in college football, but can Ole Miss and Jackson Dart go over there and actually give them a game next weekend? And I actually think that they probably can.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one, no doubt. Well, Jake, we appreciate it. Thank you for the intel. Going to be a couple of very interesting games. Ole Miss, can't get caught looking ahead. They've got Georgia in a couple of weeks, but a couple of winnable games, including against Dirt Neck the next week as Texas A&M comes to Oxford, Mississippi. But it would set up a gargantuan road trip to Georgia potentially, and then of course State trying to get those 6 wins. I appreciate it. Let everybody know how to connect with you.
Sure, just find me on Twitter. Of course, I guess now it's X at JakeWim. And then you can go to thezone1059.com. Guys, I appreciate it as always.
Thanks, Jake. Let's get a break in. When we come back, we will unpack a little bit of what Jake had to say and look ahead to some other SEC and maybe slip in some high school conversation. Big night under the lights.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Seeing some slowdown on 565 through the Glen Hearn area. That's around mile marker 8. I don't have an accident reported there, so apparently it may just be volume of traffic. A couple of vehicles off the road on the right on the westbound side. Not sure if that's going to be a wreck or not. We did have an injury accident reported county line in Madison Boulevard and a no injury indicator at Central and Courtney. Ready to be your best? QFit Sports Performance Training and Fitness can help you. It's not some group training program. It's intense one-on-one training at QFit Relentless 256-497-9075. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Looking for your next game day party destination? Well, think outside the box and kick back at Flosa Premier. And you may be thinking, isn't that the trampoline place? Of course it is. But it's also the one-stop spot for all things fun. And if kicking back with the boys to watch the game is your jam, then you're in the right spot. Jump or not, Flo tends to all ages, meaning while you sit back and watch the game, but little Jimmy's having the time of his life perfecting that front flip he most definitely wants to show you. You got this, Jimmy. So next time you think Flo, think fun for everyone.
The Lodge at Guntersville State Park. From the gorgeous long views of the lake from the Bluff Side rooms to dinner at the Pinecrest room, Guntersville State Park needs to be on your bucket list this year. What an ideal place for a family staycation or a romantic getaway. Guntersville State Park has it all. This is a great time to book your visit, and depending on the time of year, you might want to bring the clubs and take in a round at Eagle's Nest. Make plans today to visit the Lodge at Guntersville State Park. If it didn't exist, you'd have to invent it. Guntersville State Park.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
Forgiveness. Wow, what a word. What a gift. All of us have done things in our lives that we regret. All of us have done things that are disobedient. All of us have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Thank God for his forgiveness. Thank God that he separates our sins as far as the east is from the west and remembers them no more. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of Cross Point Church, smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison. Check us out at cpcfamily.org.
Great food and the best live entertainment is what it's all about at the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill. Head to downtown Huntsville every Tuesday for karaoke on the only outdoor karaoke stage in North Alabama. Thursday night is the Valley's longest running and biggest bike night. Food and drink specials, giveaways, and live music on the patio. And the Furniture Factory menu is fully loaded with options from steaks to salads, plus a whole lot more. Featuring a weekday happy hour that starts at 3. 619 Meridian Street, downtown Huntsville, and online at FurnitureFactoryBarGrill.com.
We're going abroad for the first time in years, to Spain. So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks.
¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
Welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond with you. 7:52 on a Thursday morning. Got to want to make sure you stay with us through the top of the hour break because we will have another guest in studio.
Two days in a row. Hopefully this time the microphone won't fall off.
Feel like we need one of those Mr. Rogers doorbells.
I mean, Bandy tried to screw it back in. I tried to put it back on. Steve had to do it after the segment, but Christian Swears hung in there good, and we still had a good in-studio segment, and hopefully we'll have one at 8 o'clock. Yeah.
I just won't go there with those words that we were just using on Harder Than It Looks.
Yeah, we're not. This is a family show.
Gotta keep that to a minimum there.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Hey, we do got high school football coming your way tonight under the lights.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a Class 7A Region 4 region finale, I believe, for both teams.
A championship at stake.
James Clemens traveling to take on Grissom tonight, 7 o'clock kickoff. 97.7 ESPN The Zone will be your home for that football game.
Yeah.
And you mentioned James Clemens. They are a former 97.7 ESPN The Zone Bryant Bank Team of the Week winner. They're trying to polish off the 7A Region 4 title.
With a dub.
Yeah, they get that tonight. I'm pretty sure they're already guaranteed a first-round home playoff.
They are guaranteed that.
Yes,
but
they just need to get to the region
Austin
title,
is technically
the number one
still,
seed.
alive because they beat James Clemens, and they're playing Huntsville tomorrow. And so if James Clemens was upset by Grissom, Austin could win the region title with a victory and win the tiebreaker. But if James Clemens wins tonight, it's over. They host the first round of the playoffs against the 4 seed from the region of death. And then, and then we know that Austin would be the 2 if they beat Huntsville. Now, if they don't beat Huntsville, there's a lot of things. I mean, we're talking chaos here.
Oh, I was trying to go through that last week during during the high school football scoreboard show.
Yeah.
I've had a week off.
Exactly. The Woody Anderson Ford High School Football Scoreboard Show, powered by the Huntsville Sports Commission.
Boom!
Yeah.
You are
Speaking of Woody Anderson Ford, we got to get that right.
You're 1 for 1 this week, unless you tried to do it while I was gone.
Yeah. Well, we haven't really attempted it yet, so we were 1 for 1.
All right, there we go. The region standings. If you wanted to look through it all, I mean it's. Yeah, James Clemens is there, 5-1. They automatically have the Q next to their name. You got Austin, Florence, and Bob Jones all sitting there at 4-2. Sparkman and Huntsville sitting there at 3-3.
It would really be chaos if Huntsville won and Florence lost, because then you're talking just craziness. I don't even know, about all
because
the
each
the
one of them would have
tiebreakers.
beaten each other.
Yeah,
Huntsville beat Sparkman. Sparkman.
It might even come down to
beat
winning your
Florence,
last game
Bob
or
Jones.
whatever, like
Yeah.
non-region and playoff, point different. I don't know.
I mean, going into the final week, James Clemens, Austin, Florence, Bob Jones are your 4 teams headed to the playoffs.
Yeah.
But Sparkman will play Florence, so that one could
Yeah.
change.
Mhm.
Huntsville has
Austin.
and
over at Lewis Cruz.
So, wow. Nutty.
So there's still a lot to play for everywhere, and especially tonight. And Steve and Scott will be on the call over at Milton Frank Stadium. It will be the Jets going for yet another region title, and the second one in 3 years under Coach Chad McGehee.
Short time left here in hour number 1. When we come back to kick off hour 2 again, Brewer Hicklin will be in studio.
Yeah, speaking of QB1 back in the day.
Yeah, he'll be in studio with us.
Playoff berths and playoff success.
He is. He's
Yeah.
in. Just come
Woody
on in here and
Anderson
have
Ford.
it. You can come on in here and have a seat.
Yeah.
We got a minute
We're
and a half.
covering all the bases here.
We're doing this live, so just have a seat. Put on that.
Yeah.
There you go.
And
Just
let's let
have a
everybody know.
seat.
I think everybody on social media knows, but he's now the Philadelphia Phillies property, by the way, too.
Right. Just have a seat. Be careful with that there.
Yeah, it's a little bit.
You gotta. Drew will get you.
I don't know.
There you
I'm
go.
gonna try here.
There we go. Welcome in. I know we got about a minute left here. Welcome into the studio, by the way.
Glad to be in. It's been over a year or so, I guess.
Yeah, it's about this time of year, man. Every year.
It's our yearly check-in.
Yeah, that's it. The Brewer Hickman camp coming up. We're looking forward to it.
So the World Series gets started tomorrow night.
Yeah.
You gonna pay attention to it? You gonna watch it?
A little bit of a dagger.
Yeah.
Yeah, Diamondbacks kind of put the boys home, but it's kind of interesting watching, like them versus the Braves, because I had just gotten traded to the Phillies, and obviously Kyle was with the Braves, a good friend of mine, and so he unfortunately had a surgery recently. So I was like, all right, I guess I'll pull for the home team, for the Phillies and the guys that pay my bills. So.
Well, hey, tell the listeners before the break, though, was this a Rule 5 trade? What kind of trade was this went down?
Yeah, so basically in the minor leagues, you have a 6-year rookie contract, and I was kind of coming up on the end of it, so I'm actually a free agent after the World Series again.
Oh, again. Wow. Okay. So we may not be back with the Phillies.
Yeah, so we really don't know where I'll be next year. My agent's kind of, as soon as the World Series is over, he'll start, sending out emails and figuring out who's interested and stuff. But, I was in a tough situation we could talk about a little bit in Kansas City, and fortunately they, sent me out, and the Phillies wanted me.
Look at that. Perfect timing.
Oh,
That is what you call a
he just
tease.
got here, too.
That
Bam!
is a tease of epic proportions right there. Brewer Hicklin will join us in 2 minutes. On the flip side, it's 97.7 ESPN The Zone Talking Ball.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Unlike other credit cards that decline sports betting transactions or treat them as a cash advance, the G-Bank Visa Signature Card can load directly to your favorite sportsbook apps. G.bank/VSiN.
Game 1 of the World Series is tomorrow night in Arlington, Texas. The Rangers hosting the Diamondbacks in the best of 7. It's a 2-3-2 format. Game 2 Saturday, they're off Sunday then. 3 straight games in Arizona, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. If necessary, they'll head back to Texas for games 6 and 7 next Friday and Saturday. Both the contenders made the playoffs via the wild card. Arizona had the 3rd wild card in the National League. Texas with the 2nd in the American League. Arizona plus 145 on the money line. They start Zach Gallen. Nathan Eovaldi starts for the Rangers. Heading into the series, Arizona plus 150 to win it. Texas minus 170. Corey Seager plus 500 to win the series MVP. Get the latest lines and more at vsin.com.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
There you are. Welcome back. Hour 2 of Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond with you. If you were tuning in to end hour number 1, you heard a different voice in studio, and that is because
it's that time of year.
Yes. I said we needed a doorbell because
Yeah,
we seem
doorbell.
to have guests coming in and coming out all the time, and that's what we want. We
Right.
like that. But our very good friend, and he joins us each and every year because it is the Brewer Hickland Baseball Camp presented by Academy Sports and
There we
Outdoors.
go.
Look at that. Look at that. Brewer Hickland back in studio with us. Man, it's good to see you again.
Yeah, glad to be here. Something that I look forward to each and every year, and something that it seems like we always have a good time and chat old high school memories. And
we were doing that with Cameron Tony on Facebook the
Yeah.
other day. I mean, I can't believe it's been 10 years since
Oh,
we
my
were doing
gosh.
the games, and we were talking about his comeback against Gadsden City. We were talking about the Clay Chalkville game.
Chalkville, yeah. Good
Where I almost
times.
blew out 2 headsets. I mean,
I saw you post that on Facebook, the memory from Clay Chalkville. That's got to be one of the best games.
I mean, they'd won 27 games in a row, I think, at their place at that time. It was an amazing Friday night.
I mean, you've played under the lights baseball now for a few years. You had the college game and stuff. You miss that high school stuff still the most? Is that the one that you miss the most?
There's nothing like it. Yeah, I really I can't say there's anything like high school football, and it's something that I wish I could go back and relive a couple times.
I'm bitter because he should have been. Matt Smith and I, who used to be my neighbor, we were very bitter about this. He should have been the quarterback at UNA and then the right fielder for the Lions. We had planned all this. We had talked to Coach Sharp about it. We were trying to get UNA to offer him in football because he was a high level baseball player.
Right.
But everybody's worried about baseball, and
I
then
think
we were
UAB
just like,
worked out
easy.
pretty well, though.
Oh, it did. I mean, he made the football team. People forget that he was on football scholarship before he got drafted.
Yeah,
But
that
I
was
mean-
good times too. Football,
Yeah.
I mean, college football is completely different vibe, but it was an experience that was second to none for me. It really helped molded me into the athlete that I am, and I think was one of the contributing factors to my success on the baseball field.
But a lot has changed with you, though. Experiences. I think you probably had the grandest one of all.
Yeah, I mean, now I have a newborn at home, so that's been an exciting journey for us. 5 weeks, and my wife is just absolutely killing it. I look at her every day, and I'm like, if it weren't for you, I don't know what I would do, because I honestly
It's
have
totally
no idea how to keep a human alive, but she reminds me every day of what I need to do, and so yeah, it's fun. I mean, it really is. It's a learning experience for me, but like I said, I have the best coach out there, my wife. So what more can you ask for?
Yeah, absolutely. And then in your camp too, because I mean, we love this event every year here in the Rocket City, but it's expanding because you've also been doing it in your old stomping grounds out in Omaha too.
Yeah, so last year I had some parents that were friends with me on Facebook that were in Omaha, and they were like, hey, why don't you try to do the camp in Omaha? And I'm like, I don't think you realize how hard it is to put.
It is hard. I mean, we put on events here. It's not easy.
Yeah, and everybody gets there and it goes smooth, but Lord, is it stressful to try to plan and rely on people. And so yeah, essentially I was like, all right, well, if you help me with some connections, because I mean, I didn't know radio, I didn't know news, I didn't have any sponsorship, so here I was on our Monday off days, rolling around town, knocking on doors, companies, trying to get them to help sponsor the event, and ended up getting some good sponsors up there, and ended up having 110 people at the first camp in Omaha. So it was a strong showing and beautiful weather. We were able to do it at the minor league park, and everything went smooth. But here we are for the 6th one, which is crazy. I think it's my 10th total camp, but 6th one for the youth camp presented by Academy Sports again, who's a great partner of mine. And we're doing it out of Bob Jones, and it's going to be fun. We've got Jordan Beck here in town is going to help, and we've got some other guys. Javi Vaz is coming down, and So it's going to be a good time. It's really an opportunity for these kids, really, just to kind of, they naturally look up to you just because you're a professional athlete, but just for them to see kind of how you go about your business, how you handle yourself, and just making them realize that, game of baseball is minute. It's not everything in life. And I just want them to understand that, sports in general are an incredible way to grow, incredible way to build relationships and learn from each other. And that's something that we try to express to them in the way that we coach and the way that we present the camp to them.
So it is November 11th.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it does get underway at 8 a.m.
Yep.
Goes till 12:30. Bob Jones High School, the place to be for the 2023 Brewer-Hicklin Baseball Camp presented by Academy Sports. And you mentioned a few of the names. But I'm sure there's a lot of other people that'll be out there throughout the day just to kind of help because sixth year for the camp. The word is out now, and you got to sign up early, I imagine, if you want to be a part of it.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah, we're already over 100 registrations. So we've got, I think I looked before I got came this morning, and it was like 19 spots left. So not a ton of spots left. But yeah, we try to keep it with a 1 coach to 10 player ratio. I say that just so that I can make sure that I do deliver on that. It's actually more like 1 coach for every 7 players. Cause I had 150 something last year, and I had 24 coaches. So I try to bring as many people as I can because I want these kids to have hands-on, intentional coaching. And it's fast-paced. It's high energy. They will be exhausted at the end of the day, but it's an event that I look forward to. And when it's all over, yes, it is a big relief for me because when I put something on, I am a perfectionist and I want it to be executed to the best of its ability. But when I'm walking out and the kids are saying, Mr. Brewer, we had the best time. We really appreciate it. We had so much fun, and we'll be back next year. And it seems like, on my registration, I have hey, have you been here before? And it's almost every time everybody's like, yeah, coming back for year 2, year 3, year 4.
Mr. Brewer.
Mr. Brewer.
I watched the guy catch in high school and play quarterback. And now he's a guy. He's a father. He's in 6th year of this camp. Yeah. David Sharp comes out of retirement to do this every year.
D Sharp is a homie. We were texting last night, and it's funny. He is the first text that I have every year. I say, "Yo, D, when are you free in November?" And he sends me a date, and I said, "That's when we're doing the camp."
Well, he's a perfectionist too, though. He's a really organized guy.
Oh, I did it 1 year without him, and it was the most stressful day of my life. So
he does such a good job.
If you want to sign up for the camp, head to our Twitter page at 977ESPN. We have the link to the Brewer-Hicklin baseball camp website on there right now. If you want one of the few spots that are left, sign up there and be a part of the baseball camp.
Yeah, and another cool thing this year, we're actually with the partnership with Academy, they've actually sent me a 20% coupon code. Not only for my campers, but for anybody that follows me on social media next weekend. I think it's the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of next weekend. So for any parents listening,
Christmas shopping season.
Yep.
So we need to unfollow you and then follow you back to get the discount?
No. You don't even have to be. Yeah, it'll be on my social media pages.
Okay.
And so even if you don't follow me, you can go to my Twitter or whatever that weekend, and it's online. You don't even have to go in store. You can order stuff online. So I have been sending that out to a bunch of people that I know, have kids and stuff, and they're excited about that. But it's 20% off absolutely everything. No. Well, there's a couple, they can't do ammo and stuff like that, but there's a couple things. Yes, I've been trying to share that with people so that they can save some money for the holidays.
Well, and we can also talk about this too, about your career, because you got hurt this year. You missed the first part of it, and then for the first time in your career, you get traded, and then you go to Philly. So talk about your situation. What's next for you and what's about in your journey here. I know because the ultimate goal, you got a couple cups of coffee in the big, so you've been to the show, but you want to get there, and the hardest thing to do is establish yourself.
Yeah, that was one of the biggest goals this year. So after reflecting on what it was a career year for me last year, I had 28 homers, 30-something doubles, 30-something stolen bases, and so going into spring training, hurt was a really big gut blow for me. It was just a challenging time. Fortunately, my wife was out there with me, kind of walk through that with me.
Yeah.
And that's something that I try to like pass on to these kids. Like, you can't put your identity in the game of baseball. Like, you can't find your joy in the circumstance. You have to find your joy in like the relationship that you have with God. And so I really just focused on that and just embraced the moment, embraced where I was, and tried to make an impact on those kids out there. There's a lot of young people there, and obviously they're discouraged because they're not getting sent out as well. So it's an incredible opportunity to mentor and just love on people. And so I tried to do that each and every day. I was there for a total of 9 weeks, which was crazy. I only ended up missing like 3.5 of the season. Came back to the season. One of the biggest focuses this year was, number one, to get back to the big leagues. That was the goal, but wasn't really focused on the goal as much as just the journey and taking each and every day for what it was worth. And so I needed to eliminate some strikeouts, and I needed to eliminate some swing and misses. And so I put an incredible amount of focus on that. And so I was fortunate enough. I mean, I dropped my strikeout percent almost 10%, and my swing and miss percent over 10%, which is kind of like unreal. Went through the year and had some pretty good success. Unfortunately, I was pretty unlucky. The way that analytics roll and all this, I mean, it was kind of humorous at how unlucky I was with expected slugging, expected on base, and expected average and all that. It is what it is. I mean, people can say the analytics are ruining the game, but for me, like, when you focus on the process and once the ball leaves your bat, if you hit it 105 miles an hour, you've done all you can do. And so, like, if it goes right to somebody, like, okay, like, I did everything. I swung at a good pitch, put a good swing on it, hit the ball hard. What else can I do? So I find more comfort in that than I used to, because, like, that's important and teams are valuing that. So, and that's something that the Phillies really valued. They were like, yo, you were like the top 3 unluckiest minor leaguer last year. So it's crazy, but yeah, it's been a journey. I'm thankful for every single hiccup in the road. It teaches me something new every time that something pops up, but we've still got some years left in the tank. Yeah. Body's feeling pretty good. It definitely is not recovering like it used to, but it still feels good, and I'm very fortunate to have an incredible staff and team behind me that supports me and helps me move forward.
Take us through the trade.
Yeah.
So it was kind of crazy. So we had just traded a bunch of big leaguers and gotten some prospects. So we came to a crossroad, and we had 7 outfielders in AAA. And so I saw where it was going, and I made a call to my agent, and we just kind of talked with the assistant GM and tried to figure out what was best. And fortunately, they didn't have to do this. They sent an email out to say, hey, look, like, we've got a good player. He's, we got some other prospects that we're going to play in front of him. If anybody wants him, feel free. Like, you can trade for him for cash. And a couple of days went by, and then the Phillies reached out. And I went to Lehigh Valley, which was the first time that I had ever been in a locker room where I didn't know people, right? Which was just absolutely crazy. And I walk in, and I didn't know anybody. And I mean, I'm a pretty, personable guy, an extrovert. So I, started introducing myself, and it was just the coolest. I mean, it was the coolest team. They were absolutely nasty. 12 of the 13 position players had already been in the big leagues. We were all like 27 and above. So we were just older, mature guys, and we were really good. And so it took me, I played like 2 games in like 16 days. Before I got traded. So it was just, getting my feet back wet. But as soon as I got back going, I started playing well. And I mean, literally it was a week after, the season, and Phillies, were showing interest and stuff for everything. So we'll see what next year has in store. And I'm excited to keep playing the game that I love.
Well, we're rooting for you, and in your story, you always pass on more knowledge and wisdom to the kids because of your journey. So it just adds to it. And this camp, once again, going to be wildly successful, man, when you've only got 19 spots left and you still got 2.5 weeks to go.
Yeah. So. It seems to always fill up, and just through my camp, the amount of connections that I've had. I mean, this year I'm actually getting an opportunity to be the keynote speaker at Christian Job Corps, which is awesome. I mean, a huge event here in town. So I mean, I've been.
That'll be a home run. That'll be a walk-off.
Man, I've been practicing for that, and I'm just praying that that's an incredible opportunity to share my story really more in depth, kind of about my journey, but. It's cool, man. The camp, it seems to hit every year. And, like I said, it is a lot of work that goes into it, but it's always rewarding when, at the end of the day, people are just filled with joy, and I'm excited to see their faces smile.
No question.
All right, so let them know again. You can follow, go to our Twitter page at 977ESPN, or you can go to your website.
BrewerHickland.com/camps. It's all there, all the information that you need, and registration literally will take you less than a minute. It's very quick and easy, and like I said, six pro guys there, a couple college guys. It's gonna be a good time.
Yeah, but Beck had a great year this year. It was his first full year.
Man, he is. I hadn't told him yet because I don't want his head to get too big. But that guy, I'm telling you, he does half a season like that. Next year, we're gonna see his name on TV, and that doesn't surprise me a bit. We compete every day at the gym, and he is an absolute unit. He is just so strong. And so young and naive. But
so, do you take the Rangers or the Diamondbacks?
Yeah,
you always got to kind of pull for the underdogs, right? The Diamondbacks just weren't, tough division, weren't expecting them to be there. Rangers bats are unreal. I think the Rangers are probably going to squeak it out, but I mean, you kind of want to root for the Diamondbacks just because of the story. 20-plus years?
Yeah, exactly. And Dylan Ray, who's climbing up there.
Yeah, he finished in Double-A too, which is crazy.
He and Caden were in here, Caden Rose, when they committed to Alabama. So
yeah,
we following them.
Now, are you amazed though of all the local talent that now is in the minor leagues right now?
Many guys.
Do you not remember when I first came here? And I was like the only I was before Graham, so it was like I was the only guy, which is
and now there's
crazy.
Like 10.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nuts.
I mean, I remember the first year at camp, I'm like, who in the world am I going to ask to help me with my camp?
Now there's so many of them.
Yeah,
now you got to be like, okay, who is available?
Well, honestly, like I reached out to 47 people. 47. And I got 6. And so I hope that gives you an idea. So I mean, that's 6 for 47. So let's just do the batting average on that. That's not batting very good. But you've got to realize, I mean, these people have worked all year, and for them to take a Saturday out of their day, I mean, they're with their family only 3 months out of the year. So for me to expect somebody to take a Saturday out of their day is unrealistic. Now, do I greatly appreciate it and make sure that I try to, take care of them and pay them and give them gifts and make it worth their while? Yes. But for the people that are there, it really goes to show that their commitment to help grow and develop these youth players. And so I hope people don't overlook that. It's not easy to get these guys in town. So it's a really special opportunity and event for these kids, and there's nothing like it. I can promise you that there is no event like it out there.
$127 would be your batting average.
Well, I've been there before, so I can relate.
Hopefully not for long. Hopefully be in the big leagues too.
Always good to catch up with you.
Yeah,
yes, always good.
Yeah, you guys do a great job.
Brewer Hickman Baseball Camp powered by Academy Sports.
No,
I'll just say powered because I've had enough trouble with that. Academy Sports is the main sponsor, everybody.
All right, let's get a break in. When we come back, more Talking Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Looks like they've canceled Hemsey on that wreck, 231 in Charity Lane. Sounds like it may still have some blockage, though. One indicator at Central and Courtney was a no injury. It should be clearing. One on County Line at Madison Boulevard did stay an injury tight. Still may be working to get it out of the way. End of the year's coming. If you need temp admin or accounting help for special projects, Snelling can help. Snelling, how the area's best companies hire talent. Huntsville.snelling.com. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
Not looking or feeling your best? No energy for the things you like to do? Ready to look and feel younger? Make your appointment at Advanced Life Clinic, one of the region's foremost destinations for patients interested in looking and feeling their best. Specializing in advanced laser treatments and weight loss, male and female rejuvenation to offset the effects of aging, and more. See how Advanced Life Clinic can help you enjoy your life again. Call 256-882-6555 or log on advancedlifeclinic.com.
Sitting here with Mark Kent of Southern Fidelity Mortgage Group of Huntsville. Mark, do you help pre-qualify people?
We pre-qualify people all the time, Wes. As a matter of fact, I love having them coming in here because when they come in and they pre-qualify, they can leave my office knowing exactly how much they can buy and have no worries.
Mark, tell me about your rates and pricing.
Well, Wes, this is something we're really, really proud of. Long story short is, I love being able to provide the best pricing in town. Honestly, I cannot tell you the last time I lost a deal to either rate or pricing, something I'm very proud of.
So what all financing options do you have, Mark?
We do several different things. If you're purchasing a home, we can handle the purchase. If you're wanting to refinance your home, of course, rates are at the lowest they've been in the last 3 years. We do a lot of refinancing. If you're building a home, we can handle the entire process from breaking ground to the final close.
Do you sleep with your phone?
Wes, if you want to reach me, you can call me at my office phone, which is 256-562-1000. But always remember, I sleep with my cell phone at night. That number is 256-656-5936.
Football season and Bad Daddy's Burger Bar. The perfect combination of good times and great food. This season, score big with one of our chef-inspired expressions of pure burger amazingness. Our delicious burgers are made with premium Angus beef, and you can pair it with one of our signature cocktails or a cold craft beer from our huge selection. Bad Daddy's Burger Bar on the Parkway in Huntsville and our new location at Cliff Farm, Highway 72 in Madison.
Do you have discomfort in your legs? Varicose veins can affect not only how your legs look, but how they feel. Symptoms of varicose veins include pain, swelling, aching, heaviness, and fatigue. Dr. Tracy Lowry of Best Vein Care of Huntsville can diagnose and treat your varicose veins with the latest minimally invasive techniques. Diagnosis and treatment is covered by most insurances. Call 256-715-7151 to schedule your free screening. Go to bestveincarehuntsville.com.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve, and we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs: residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single-ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing, we have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond with you. Coming up in a little bit, Jason Caldwell's going to join the show as we preview Auburn's sideline with Mississippi State coming up on Saturday. We talked a little Mississippi State there in the first hour. Big thank you to Brewer Hicklin for joining us a little bit ago.
Yeah, the Brewer Hicklin baseball camp presented by Academy Sports.
Yeah, see, when Brewer's here, we have to make sure we execute the Woody Anderson Ford high school football scoreboard show.
Or really look like jackasses.
Yeah, yeah. We would if we messed that one up when he was here, that would be
like
a
when
disaster.
I opened the door to let him in. And I'm like, oh, well, I should have known you're going to be in a Ford. Well, of course.
That was like my dumb ass, though, one time saying, hey, Brewer, why don't you join us at Bill Penny Toyota?
Yeah, you know.
He was like, seriously?
2 great sponsors there, but
seriously?
Little awkward.
And I was like, yeah, that wouldn't work out so well. Anyway, big thanks to Brewer. Again, head to our Twitter page at 977ESPN. We have the link there to his camp.
Few spots left, man.
Yeah,
They're going
get out
fast.
there, sign it up. If you got someone, a little kid that wants to, seriously, if you want to spend the day
4.5
going to
hours.
a baseball camp, that is well worth it. Yeah, we just found out they're going to have some really, really good barbecue there.
Right.
Not just really good, but some really, really good barbecue. The
They're
two
gonna give you
reallys
some
make it even
nice
better.
gifts, man. They're going to take care of the kids.
Yeah, so
you're going to learn a lot. You're going to get. You got Brewer, hopefully going to be in the big leagues. You got Jordan Beck. This guy's destined for the big leagues. He's a freakazoid. I mean, the ball sounds different coming off his bat. You got Javi Vaz, who played at Huntsville High. It played at Vanderbilt. I mean, you got all these really good these guys that are, that have played at the highest level of college baseball, playing professional baseball. Where his father Roberto was a guy that played for the Huntsville Stars and played in AAA and was a star at Alabama, who's now with your organization, the Cubs. So there's just so many people in our community connected to professional baseball. Think about that, 47. That's how many people that Brewer reached out to. And when he started this 6 years ago, he was almost a lone wolf. And then it was him and Graham Ashcraft, and then it just keeps expanding every day. We talked about the Diamondbacks being in the World Series. Dylan Ray, D-Ray, he made it all the way to Double-A this year. He's another guy that could be on the fast track to the major leagues. There's so many guys we're monitoring and we're following around here that are playing baseball, Scott, at the highest level.
All right, so thank you, Brewer, for dropping in this morning. As we mentioned, Jason Caldwell going to be with us here in just a few minutes. Going to talk about this Auburn squad as they get ready to take on Mississippi State. Now, here's something, Drew, that the Auburn passing game is on track to be an historically bad one as far as the SEC record books go. The only offense in the playoff era that has been worse than Auburn's 151 yards a game was the 2019 Kentucky team, which made a switch and put receiver Lynn Bowden at quarterback.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, Lynn Bowden played in the NFL, yeah.
But he racked up an SEC best over 1,400 yards, 1,468 rushing yards to be exact.
They were able. It was almost like what Cadillac Williams did at the end of last year with Auburn.
Right.
They just absolutely pounded on people.
So they actually went on to finish the season with 114.5 passing yards a game against SEC competition. That is better than Auburn's current mark of 105 per game.
Yeah, it's just been a surprise, man.
Auburn's 105, if it stays that way, would be the lowest of any SEC team in the last 15 seasons. 15 seasons.
Mm-hmm. But I will just say this. Their schedule, we talked about how, earlier in the week, Scott, we were talking about what a brutal stretch it is for the Gators of Florida. I mean, think about this. They've got the cocktail party against UGA, the two-time defending national champions. Then I guess you could say they get a reprieve with Arkansas, but who knows? Then they're at LSU, at Missouri, and they host Florida State. That's brutal. I mean, that's –
So you think about these numbers right here. Auburn ranks 126 in the FBS in pass attempts. It also finds itself in the bottom 25 in FBS in sacks allowed per game.
Mm-hmm.
For every 8 passes that Auburn attempts, it gets sacked once. Against Power 5 competition, Auburn allows 3.6 sacks a game while attempting 20.8 passing attempts per contest. That's 1 sack for every 5.8 pass attempts against Power 5 defenses.
Yeah.
Those numbers are not good.
They're not. When we have somebody texting in, too, they want to know if Lynn Bowden's Kentucky team beat your Hawkeyes in a bowl game.
Probably so.
Well, they've played a bunch. At least it seems that way.
They probably did. That would be 2019. I mean, I don't know. Every time I count Iowa out, they always do something. I don't know. You know what, though? They've got a sticky wicket up there because they have an interim athletic director.
That's right.
They all want her to be the full-time athletic director because she's doing great things. And now she's saddled with this whole Bryant Ferentz thing where does she renew his contract if he doesn't meet the demands that the old athletic director put? Does she risk alienating the head football coach, his dad?
Well, maybe the head football coach should retire. He's been there forever. It's not like he's not vested.
I know. He's way vested.
I mean, good
so anyway, I mean that's Big Ten life. I mean, it's it's a little bit different because it was so funny because they were all like, oh, yeah. I mean, they all want to talk football, but then they all want to talk basketball because Iowa basketball is getting ready to be started.
Clark.
And I'm like, guys, we still got weeks left of the
Hey,
we still got weeks of the
here's
college
this thing,
football
man.
season.
She's got another year from her COVID, man. So
Yeah, she could
she's
play
maybe there
another
2
one if
years.
she
She's going
wanted
to make
to.
more money. Oh, she will. She's going to make more money at Iowa than she will in the WNBA.
But I'm just talking, I mean, the feeling is, down here, it is football 24/7, 365, college football. Then you sprinkle in some other stuff. I mean, they're already talking about the starting five for Iowa. Everybody was. Who's going to be the starting five? What is Fran McCaffrey going to do? Oh, by the way, the football team does this. They intertwine both
they just
sports.
lost the pig, man. They just lost, what is his name?
Floyd of Rosedale.
They lost Floyd, so they still might win the division, but they lost to Minnesota.
I think we can win the I think this is the Heartland Trophy, what we play for Wisconsin, and then we got one for Nebraska.
We
play for a trophy for everything.
Man, every freaking game.
All right. Hey, Jason Caldwell is going to join us on the other side of the break. We will talk some more Auburn and Mississippi State. What does Auburn got to do to get a win at home? His thoughts on the performance against Ole Miss, and a little recruiting news and notes from the Auburn Tigers with Jason Caldwell next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly to partly sunny sky this afternoon. Temperatures have no problems climbing into the lower 80s. We drop into the low 60s as we head into the overnight, early into your Friday morning. More cloud cover for Friday afternoon, but it is still going to be warm across the Tennessee Valley. Temperatures climbing into the upper 70s and lower 80s. It'll be a warm October evening for Friday night football. Temperatures for the most part hanging out in the mid 60s, dropping into the low 60s by the time we get to the earliest hours of Saturday morning. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Had a wreck on 231 at Charity Lane that reported as an injury type. They had Himsey on the way, but they canceled them. Had a couple of others. County Line and Madison Boulevard was an injury type. Should be about ready to clear. And Central and Courtney in Decatur. I don't think it'll be much longer before that one's out of the way. Expert heart care backed by advanced technology. When you need cardiac care, you need the heart doctor. Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialist. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
This is Wes Neighbors sitting here with Philip Love of not only Eagle Insulation, now he represents Eagle Companies. Eagle through the years have added several companies to help individuals or builders through their construction renovation process. Eagle is known to represent quality, efficiency, and professionalism. Philip, I know you do insulation, but do you do masonry?
We do.
Do you do grading, erosion control, and dirt hauled off?
We do.
Do you do after paint, which includes shower doors, mirrors, shelving blinds, and bath hardware?
Yes, we do, Wes.
Do you do landscaping and irrigation?
Yes, we do.
So basically, Eagle can help you all along your process of building your house or doing renovations. So do you do plumbing?
We do not, Wes, but we can find somebody to do it.
Just give them time. They'll be there. Anyway, call Eagle Insulation at
256-755-1556.
Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money. Call Eagle today.
Thanks, Wes.
At Mr. Sparky, we're America's on-time electrician. Flickering lights and hot switches can be annoying, but they can also signal a major problem, or worse, an electrical emergency. So play it safe and leave it to the experts at Mr. Sparky. Trust our team of professional, clean, and friendly electricians. We'll get it done right and get it done safely.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Independently owned and operated. Licensed in the respective state or county.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
This is Wes Neighbors sitting here with Stan McDonald. Stan, tell everybody why you're the best damn dirt lawyer in North Alabama.
Yes, Wes, at Jacob Title and the Stanton Law Firm. You know I'm a dirt lawyer, and a lot of our friends know that, which means we specialize in real estate. Now, if you own real estate or you're buying it or you're selling it, you need to do a closing, but a lot of times there's legal issues associated with that. We're a great group to talk to. My son, Lewis McDonald, heads our commercial closing division, and we approach your real estate needs very seriously. We seek to be the premier real estate closing company in North Alabama, and we do it in such a way it shows that we're experienced, we're for your success. We like to handle your real estate needs the same way Coach Dan Reeves used to say, Never let them see you sweat. And that's going to be to your benefit, too, when you visit us at Jacob Title and the Stanton Law Firm. Our website online is jacobtitle.com.
8:34 Thursday morning, Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond hanging out with you this morning. The Auburn Tigers back at home on Saturday. 2:30 kickoff on the SEC Network, Auburn, Mississippi State. And the feeling here is take the under.
Yeah, but we talked about it before going into break. It's just been Auburn has run the football okay at times, pretty well, but it's been a struggle at the quarterback position. It's been a struggle with the wide receivers and the transfer portal. The offensive line, I think, has improved, but again, they had to, this is what you're seeing with the portal era. They had to flip this roster over, and they're still much better than they would have been. With what Hugh Freeze has done, but it's just a transition year. Nick Saban went 7-6 without the portal his first year at Alabama many years ago in 2007. This is a transition year for Hugh Freeze, but I still think the schedule sets up for Auburn to still make a bowl game and potentially make a run here late. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about some recruiting news, some good news that Auburn's been getting on the trail because Hugh Freeze and his coaches, they are burning it up. Certainly on the recruiting trail and continuing to add talent to this roster, and hopefully they hope to have an offense that looks much different, especially in the quarterback room potentially with production and the wide receiver room next fall. But we're going to talk to Jason right now. He's in his 24th year, I believe, covering the Auburn Tigers for Inside the Auburn Tigers and Auburn 24/7. He's joined us this morning on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Jason, good morning.
Hey guys, how are y'all?
We're good, man. How are you?
Doing good.
Yeah, well, talk about it, man. I mean, I've listened to you and Nathan kind of in your podcast and your post-game stuff talking about this, but it's just a situation where it is what it is with Auburn right now. I know they started Robbie Ashford last week. They're playing two quarterbacks. I talked to Charlie Trotman this week on the drive when I was sitting in the evening. He'd rather Auburn stick with one guy, but he understands where they are right now. He's really more in the Ashford camp. It's just been a struggle for the Auburn passing game, Jason.
Yeah, no, you're right. Something you mentioned is probably the first thing that to remember is this is a roster that had to fight and claw and scratch to get to this point to where you're competitive.
Yeah.
Now, did I think it was going to be better offensively? Yeah, I did, and it still could be. But when you go out and grab, 4 or so transfer wide receivers to try to give you a little size and hope that works out, it hasn't. That hasn't been the answer. Now I think we'll go back and see. Smaller, quicker, probably, in my opinion, this weekend. I agree that I think it's one quarterback and would help. And I was Robbie Ashford for a while. I'm now more on Peyton Thorne. I think Peyton Thorne has given you more in the run game than anybody expected. He's actually making really good decisions in the run game. And they've moved the ball with some of those quicker, maybe more tempo sets that they've done. They did it last week against Ole Miss. They did it against LSU. So I think I would, I'm not a coach, and I obviously don't make nearly as much money as those guys do and don't have the pedigree, but I would go back to what they did early in the season, which was Peyton Thorne running the show, Robbie Ashford kind of red zone special situations, and get back to that. That's what they thought. Is at that and just see what that looks like now.
What do they got to do? The run game has been the bright spot. The passing game obviously not the bright spot. What do they got to do to get the wide receivers maybe a little bit more involved?
Those guys got to get better. They got to make plays.
Yeah.
You got to get open, and they got to find them when they are. It's just been a combination of everything. But the biggest thing that could make a passing game better is having guys get open and in their route running and doing those things. And there hasn't been a bunch of that so far this season. And I think what I think has been learned is that counting on guys to win 50-50 balls in the Southeastern Conference probably not a high rate of success. It's these other guys are good in this league for a reason, and trying to win those balls. It doesn't have a whole lot of upside, and so there's all these things have been said, and we've talked about them for the last few weeks. They've been 4 or 5 plays away from winning, a couple of games against ranked teams, and and people say, well, you can say that about every team. The difference is those other teams are making 10 or 12 plays, and then there's 4 or 5 you don't make. Auburn's making 2, and then 4 or 5 you don't make. They become much more important when you don't make many of them, when you miss an opportunity here or there that you have. And so can you make a few more of those plays this week? I don't think it's going to be maybe as important offensively with Mississippi State on the other side, but you don't ever know. We've seen these games before where you think it's going to be, 10-7, and it's 24-17 at halftime. So I don't expect to see that, but Auburn finding a little offense sure would be beneficial for them.
And it's a 4-game stretch coming up before the Iron Bowl in Jordan-Hare, where Auburn is either going to be favored or have a really good chance to win. I know the Arkansas game's tricky. We don't know what they're going to look like, and it's a road game. But still, it's a winnable game against a team that's struggling. Mississippi State's coming off of a win. They're first in the SEC, but they only scored 7 points. And then Vanderbilt struggled. And then, as we said, Arkansas, then New Mexico State. But the schedule looks more favorable for Auburn right now.
Well, it looked different than I thought it was going to look.
Right.
But this is exactly where I thought they would be at this point in the season.
Gotcha.
I thought you'd have a chance to win one of these games, and they had a chance to probably win 3 of them, other than that LSU game. They had an opportunity to win Texas A&M, Georgia, and Ole Miss. And so, they put themselves in a position to do that. I thought it would be more offense, less defense. It's been the reverse. But this was always, to me, the most important stretch of the season, because these are 4 games that are very much winnable games. And I thought 7-5, maybe 8-4. That's where you would be if you're able to, for me, it starts with confidence. Can you build a little confidence offensively? If you do that, then I think you start to have a chance to win and do some things against teams that are, struggling like you are. And so, yeah, these next 4 to me are really the most important games of the season, because they are the most winnable games in a stretch that you've had.
You look at this Mississippi State team, they come in with a win against Arkansas, but offensively it was a challenge for them on the road. I mean, both teams come in defensively. Auburn's defense is one, numbers-wise, nation-wise ranked up there very high. Offensively, though, both teams come in pretty challenged this weekend.
Yeah, and obviously, Will Rogers, even playing Will Rogers this season has been much different because of the offense they played. It hasn't been that run and shoot style. It's been more straight up offense, and Mike Wright comes in as a runner. I would expect to see him Saturday. It doesn't feel like Will Rogers will be playing, but you never know. But the key for me is Woody Marks, Jaquavius Marks. He's kind of the engine for this current Mississippi State offense, and he was a little banged up at the end of that Arkansas game. Is he able to go? What's he look like Saturday? To me, that'll hold the key for that offense. But yeah, neither one of these offenses is one that you look at them going, hey, Mississippi State's got a couple of playmakers in those guys, and Tula Griffin outside is a guy that Auburn doesn't have, but Auburn's secondary is probably his strength. So much more favorable matchup if you're Auburn playing this game at home.
Yeah, there's no question about it, and it's good to have it in Jordan-Hare because Auburn has played well there. They could have they hung with Ole Miss last week. They could have beaten Georgia. They pushed them to the brink. They have been a much better team, even offensively, because I thought they moved the ball really well against Georgia, Jason.
Yeah, I mean that was a game where you look at it and you go, you doubled up Georgia in the run game, had some opportunities for a few plays in the passing game, and that's been the difference for them as you look, and they just haven't been able to make any of those plays throwing the football, and any big plays. It's really difficult to drive the ball 13, 14 plays no matter what you do. It's really difficult to do that when you're depending on throwing a few passes here or there. And the key for this team, and Mississippi State does it too, Ole Miss created negative plays. Auburn can't get behind the chains. Third and medium, third and long becomes third and a mile for this offense, and that makes it really difficult. So you got to stay ahead of the chains, and that's why it's that danged if you do, danged if you don't. Throwing the football on first down is usually the best chance of success, but if you take a sack or have an incompletion, 2nd and 10 then becomes a tough spot to be in. So it's right now it's about going out and seeing if you can find somebody to make one of those plays, make somebody miss. Saw Jarquez Hunter have his best game last week, and he build on that would be a big deal for this team.
All that offensive struggles overshadows the defensive side of the ball. I mean, they forced a turnover defensively in 16 straight games. I mean, that's this defense is it's giving the offense plenty of chances. That is for sure with their play.
Yeah, and it's still a defense that's not loaded with talent, especially up front. Now, the secondary, I think the secondary is a talented group, especially getting Keontae Scott back.
Yes.
That makes a big difference for this defense because he's one of those guys that, he's kind of the spark plug for these guys because he does so many things in coverage, at the line of scrimmage, all that stuff. And so getting him back was a big deal. See how he's able to recover this week. But saw him the other day, he looked fine. So, if you can get him some of the rust knocked off along with Austin Keys, it's big for this defense. But still not a defense that can line up and win with its front four. They still got to do things, and I think Ron Roberts has done a great job of just kind of, pushing the right buttons to give them a chance to succeed. But, it all starts with the run game. They did a pretty good job in the middle of that game of stopping the Ole Miss run, but that's the key at LSU, the run game. If you can limit Mississippi State running the football Saturday and put the game, whether it's Will Rogers or Mike Wright, put it in their hands, then if you're Auburn, you got to feel like that'd be a pretty good spot to be in.
No question. And then some good recruiting news this week. A guy that's fast rising from the best program in the state, the Thompson Warriors, 4-time defending 7A champions, Caleb Harris, a guy that's a really physical in-the-box safety, 2024 committed to Auburn.
Yeah, I've liked Caleb, I guess, for three years or so, just since watching him play. And he's playing his best football right now. He's in great shape. He's gotten faster, I believe. And this is a guy that'll be 6'2", 205, 210, probably could play kind of that star linebacker, could be the box safety, kind of like Zion Puckett does now, play close to the line of scrimmage. But he's a guy that just is good enough to go out in coverage and do some stuff too. So I think it's a really good addition and a guy that will have a chance. I mean, obviously playing where he's played against that competition will give him a chance to step in and play early, in my opinion.
And then they've got Laquan Robinson from Holmes Community College in Mississippi, top-ranked safety in the JUCO ranks. Tentatively, I know Christian Clemente reported he's going to be announcing a commitment back in his hometown on November the 2nd, and he's from Greenville, Alabama, and it sounds like Auburn's in strong position. Yeah, guy that I watched play in high school, and this is kind of that physical, maybe a little bit of kind of a hybrid safety nowadays. Now you're either kind of a coverage guy or a box guy. He's kind of the classic, he's got some size, 6'2", 195 or so. So I think he can play all over the field. But yeah, he's a guy that can. I think another guy that when you start thinking about stepping in, you would expect the guy that's played a couple years of junior college football to be that guy that's able to step in, and especially since you'll be losing Jalen Simpson, you'll be losing Zion Puckett, you're going to be losing DJ James outside, Nehemiah Pritchett, and so you're going to need more of a veteran, experienced presence to step in there, and I think he can be that guy. And I think Auburn's in pretty good shape right now. Well, good stuff, Jason. We thank you. We know you got a busy schedule. Let everybody know how to connect with you guys over at Auburn 24/7. Yeah, you can check us out, like you said, at auburnundercover.com, part of the 24/7 network. You can also follow me on Twitter at ITATJ. Thank you, man.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
All right, let's get that final break in. When we come back here, tomorrow's headlines will wrap us all up. Talk Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Got an injury wreck at Indian Creek in Kelly Spring. Got 231 in Charity Lane reported with injury, but they canceled Himsey on it. Everything else from earlier should be out of the way now. Got a lot of folks scrambling, though, on that trip in this morning. You be careful if you're in that last-minute group. You get 2 pieces of hand-breaded, juicy, tender signature chicken and a buttermilk biscuit for $4.99 at Popeyes. University in Jordan, 72 in Jeff, and North Parkway. Captain Nick in the Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
Tom Abraham here for my friends at North Alabama Mortgage. Did you know that average home equity is at an all-time high? But so is average consumer debt. Even though rates are higher now, you can use your equity to pay off your high consumer debt, student loans, etc., then refi when the rates drop. Don't put off that new home purchase. When rates drop, prices will go up. Buy now and get the best price and then refi when the rates drop. This is the time to talk to the experts at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com for more information.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, proudly saying Roll Tide and War Eagle. Stop into University Kia today and shop one of the area's largest selection of new Kias, including Fortes, Seltos, Telluride, and Popular Carnival, and fully electric EV6. View all the great specials at universitykia.com and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia you really want, because we want to see you in a University Kia.
The End Zone Sports Bar has done it again. This time, they're bringing their jumbo wings, handcrafted burgers, Tex-Mex, and New York-style pizza to the Midtown District with their new location on McMurtry Drive Northwest opposite the Target Plaza. Tuesdays at the End Zone means half-price burgers, and Wednesday is $1 jumbo wings all day long. The End Zone also features Sunday ticket for all your NFL viewing. The newest End Zone Sports Bar in the Midtown District on McMurtry near the Target Plaza. Get in the End Zone.
Are you in the market for a recreational vehicle? Do you want to get out and see more of this beautiful country? Well, imagine hearing the laughter of your little ones enjoying gooey s'mores by a cozy campfire and making lasting memories with your friends and family from the comfort of a new camper. We can make your dreams come true at Hall's RV. With over 15 years in the camping business, we know how to get our customers into the perfect camper. We have several models and floor plans here for you to choose from, both new and used. We're family owned and operated with fantastic deals and great service. Everyone wants to work with people they can trust, so come on down to Hall's RV and get the deal of a lifetime. We'll treat you right and get you on the road in the camper of your dreams. Visit us on Highway 431 in Albertville. Hall's RVs, where we sell fun. Or see us on the web at www.hallsrvsales.com.
It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
And welcome back, Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. I wouldn't call him a friend of the program.
Right.
Because he's been an acquaintance of the program.
Uh-huh.
But Mark Hudspeth, who I go way back with.
Oh, what a tangled web we weave when we practice to deceive.
Yeah. Apparently he's in a little hot water. He's denying everything, obviously.
Of course. The only people
but he's in a little hot water down there in Gulf Shores.
It's shocking that Ronnie Royal, he transferred from Alexandria 2 or 3 years ago, moved all the way across the state and hasn't been, having to pay his rent.
Yeah. Apparently, from what is being reported in Mobile, that the Gulf Shores football program has
a benefactor,
3 or 4 players not paying rent, that somebody else is paying their rent for them.
Oh, wow.
In apartments located next to the school.
Yeah, they've been being investigated for 2 or 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
They're 8-0 and ranked number 1 in 5A.
He's in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, he just Coach Hudspeth is. It seems to follow him like my man Rush.
He and his college coach all-star coaching staff.
Yeah, Van Gorder and
Brian
all those
Van
guys.
Gorder, former Auburn,
Yeah.
Notre Dame defensive coordinator on
yeah.
his staff down there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, but according to the superintendent, he said they've had 100 transfers in the last year, but only 9 are football players. I'm like, only 9? They're probably all starters, but only 9. That's only, half of your 22. Wow.
Only 9?
Only 9?
We were supposed to have 20.
One of them was from Oxford and announced on social media, we're moving across the state to Gulf Shores. He's probably not paying his rent either. Yeah, and I'm going to say that. I don't give a rat's,
Some people were like, well, I wonder what's going on in Alabaster.
They had a kid move in from Spain Park. He's only a 4-star. His mom, they upset you at Trustful last week. She packed up the truckster, and they've moved to Alabaster. And now with this crazy ass rule, you can be eligible to play this Friday night if you've made a bona fide move at Thompson. So there you go.
I wonder if he's paying rent.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a crazy rule. I don't think you should be able to move in the middle of a season.
Not that late.
I mean that's crazy. To do that. Now we've seen it in our community happen. It's happened, but it's a crazy. And that's how I knew the rule was legit. I was like, yeah, you can absolutely make a bona fide move in the middle of a season and play for 2 different teams immediately. And play for one team and then all of a sudden, and play for another. It's happened before.
Oh. So that is the state news coming out of there. I saw that and I just kind of laughed because Hudspeth, he's not at Western Kentucky for a reason. I'll just say that.
No, you mean Austin P.
Or Austin P.
Yeah.
He's not in Western Kentucky either because he was never there. But no, trouble has followed him. Trouble has followed him wherever. Mark Hudspeth.
Yeah, and don't forget, in our community, one year, Micah Pettis did that. He went from Sparkman to James Clemens and then played against Sparkman.
That's right. Remember.
That's how I knew the rule was legit, because he absolutely made a bona fide move during the season, and he transferred. So you can absolutely do that, and that's not against the rules. You can, if you make a bona fide move, you can play at a different school.
Wow. Jump ship if you're not going to make the playoffs.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming